with Al and host Al Tercek, the drummer boy. And Al, welcome to WATJ 1560.
Al, it's really nice to be here. It seems like I drove for half the day, but it's nice. It's pretty out here.
It's a nice part of the country.
Out in the country.
You're right. So, we will begin. You're a native of Ohio?
Yes, I am. I was born in Cleveland, in Collinwood.
In Collinwood?
Spent most of my life in the Collinwood area. Now I live in Hudson, Ohio, and that's not too far from Collinwood, but we moved away when our...
hour and 45 minutes.
An hour and 45 minutes from here, I'll tell you that. I ran into a lot of traffic on 306.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to SeaWorld today.
They probably are.
Yep.
Yeah.
But,
and Jogga Lake.
But I am a Collinwood boy. I always have been. I grew up right across from St. Mary's Church, the heart of the Slovenian area.
On Holmes Avenue.
On Holmes Avenue.
Uh-huh.
And went to school there. Went to school later at Cathedral Latin and Western Reserve University.
Mm-hmm.
But lived around that Collinwood area. On Nottingham Road, from the day we were married, we lived there until we moved to Hudson. So.
Well, I remember the house in Nottingham. I was there a few times.
Yeah, you were.
But the Holmes Avenue one, I don't recall.
Yeah, we had a store. My parents had a store right across from the church.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it was a deli kind of a store, or I guess you call it a deli. And it's interesting because when my mother and Dad bought the store, my mother couldn't speak English. My dad hadn't been here much longer, not very long when they bought the store, but what he won in a St. Mary's or a Slovenian home raffle. He won a car and sold it for $500, sent the money to Slovenia, Yugoslavia, and my mother came over. They got married, and then we lived on Holmes Avenue. And then they bought that store. My mother couldn't speak English, but if you came in and pointed to things, she'd give it to you, and she could add. She had a mind that could, mathematical mind, could add easy.
Hey, the Slovenians know how to handle the money.
They know how to handle the money. And then she went to Collinwood High School and learned to speak English, and then later they bought a bar on Waterloo, Gaiety Bar.
Right.
And moved that once or twice and retired from that.
That one I remember. I used to go in there quite often.
Well, we had music
right.
3-4 nights a week.
Right. You're right.
Great fun, great memories.
What possessed you to start music?
Well, I took banjo lessons for a year when I was 11 years old. I really did. And I got a free banjo at Wurlitzer's and put that in the garage, in the attic. And I said I want drums. My mother said, you had one chance. You got your banjo. Go play it. And then I prevailed on her and picked on her, and then finally said, if I buy him and pay for him myself, what do you think of that idea? And she says, that's fine. So again, I bought him on a tie payment plan from Wurlitzer's, and I got him for Christmas. And on February 5th, I think it was, I got my first job with Joe Lisicki, and I started playing. So it was about a month after I got But prior to that, I had set up drums in the basement of the store, and I had cardboard boxes for drums, and somebody gave me sticks. You might know him. Ray Boykus was a well-known drummer, and he used to come in our bar, and we had a little beer and wine thing across from the St. Mary's Church, and he'd come in there and gave me sticks and brushes, and I'd play with records. I had a wind-up Victrola, put a record on, and I'd play with it, and cymbals were pots and pans, and Frankie Yankovic was a Collinwood bakery delivery man.
You're right.
And he used to deliver bread there. And one day he said to my mother, Josie, what's that downstairs? I hear a drummer. And she says, well, that's Albie. And he says, what's he playing on? She says, he made drums. So he came down and he says, keep practicing. Someday you'll play with me. And it wasn't very long. I think 2 years later I was playing with Frank at 14.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is at the old nightclub on the other side of... on the west side of 152nd Street.
Yeah, in Waterloo there.
Yeah, we had a trio, Al Naglitch, Yankee, and me.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a record out.
Yep.
Maybe more than one that I know of.
Yep, there's two.
I know you've done a lot of recordings.
Yeah.
And let's do one of your tunes. Why don't you address this one?
Okay, this one is Just Because. It's our version of Just Because, and those were the days. And if I started off by dedications, I should dedicate it to my wife. I hope she's listening. We're pretty far away. She's going to try to get it, but if not, we'll tell her all about it. This is to Aggie, my bride of many, many years.
If not, I have a cassette tape we're making. We can get you a copy.
All right. Great.
Hi again, everybody. This is Bill Randall. Once again, the great sound of Al Tercek and his orchestra, Power to the Polka.
Just because you think you're so pretty Just because you think you're so hot, just because you think you've got something that nobody else has got. You cause me to spend all my money. You laugh and call me old Santa Claus. I'm telling you, baby, I'm through with you just because, just because. Because you think you're so pretty, just because you think you're so hot, just because you think you've got something that nobody else has got. You cause me to spend all my money. You laugh and call me old Santa Claus. I'm telling you, baby, I'm through with you just because, just because.
Yeah. What was the name of that?
That was Just Because.
Oh, Just Because?
And those were the good old days.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Yeah. So that's all you've ever played was banjo and drums now, huh?
Yeah.
Did you try anything else?
And I stayed with banjo, and I stayed with drums for up to this day.
Uh-huh.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it.
You just had a big concert over there in your town.
In Hudson, yeah. It was a real big surprise, Al. What happened, I mean, the concert wasn't, that was planned, and they asked me, excuse me, the Hudson people knew that I used to have a band, and we played a lot in Hudson, and one of the men on the committee asked me if I still had a band, and they were thinking of having a polka night for the first time. And they have some pretty classy acts that come into that green. It's on the corner of routes 303 and 91, and every Sunday night. And so they asked, and I said, well, I don't have a band anymore, but I think what you ought to do, you ought to have the Polka Hall of Fame. And he asked me all about that, and I told him he's a kind of a polka fan, but a little bit removed, and he did know Frankie Yankovic, and he did know Johnny Vadnal, and a couple names like that, Eddie Habit.
Did he know Al Tercek?
No, well, he knew. Somebody told him to call me. Up till then, he didn't know. And but then he said, well, if you could get the Hall of Fame band, that would be outstanding. And so I said, the guys will work free, and all the money that we get will go into the Hall of Fame. And he thought that was outstanding. He said, geez, that's great. And he says, you think you'd get Frankie Yankovic? And I said, I don't think so. He's retired and in Florida, and he might. He comes to Cleveland frequently. If he's here, I'll try. So what happened was he happened to be here for that. The Indians, I guess, had that one Thursday night honored him, and he came in for that. Plus, he came in for Louis Trebar's testimonial in Pennsylvania, and we fell in right in between those two dates. So he was here, and Tony Pekosi brought him from the Louis Trebar tribute, and he brought him to Hudson, and we saw him coming over the hill, and Fred Kuhar was announcing, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, I see in the distance Frankie Yankovic, and the place went a little bit wild. And on the bandstand, though, we had Eddie Habit, and we had Johnny Vadnal, And even Johnny, I wasn't sure was going to play it until the week before, because John hasn't been feeling too well.
No, you're right, because I just talked to him the other day. I wanted him to come on the show, and he says, Al, wait till I start feeling better and get straightened out, because I don't want to sound like a dummy on this, the air, you know. So.
One thing that encouraged him was Norm Kobal was on sax, along with Pete Kuhar, two sax players.
Right.
So he thought that was pretty good, and he agreed to play 3 songs. But when we came on the job, the man that booked us said, "You mean you got Johnny Vandal?" I said, "Yeah." And he says, "How about Yankovic?" I says, "There's a chance." And then Eddie Kenny came, and Frankie Spedick, and all these guys are there, and it was really great. So
that's another guy I'm trying to get on here is Kenny. Well, I'm trying to get a lot of different guys, you know.
Yeah.
I've even talked to some of the guys out of town, and as soon as they get squared away with whatever the heck they're doing, why they said they will come down, and we got a visitor here. I don't know who it is, but we'll find out. Anyhow, you want to go to the next tune there, Al?
Yeah, the next tune on the thing is at one time Swap and Shop shows were really popular, and the guy that started all of those was Bill Randall, and so we took an Al Cynic song and changed it around a little bit and called it Swap and Shop Polka. One of their old customers and an old friend, Nick Vukcevic, just walked in and gave me a souvenir that my dad passed out. I don't know what year, but it's a framed thermometer, and the advertising Gaiety Bar Inn underneath. And so it's the first bar, the one on 167th in Waterloo. And my dad spelled his name John Tercek, T-R-C-E-K.
Oh, yeah?
And over the C was a umlaut, you know, one of those chututniks,
yeah, one of
whatever
those.
you call that thing. That's the old days. Brings back a lot of memories.
A check mark.
Yeah, a check. and Nick, being a good polka man, was listening and thought I'd like it. He brought it in. I thank him a lot.
Great.
What are we going to do next, Al? We're gonna...
Well, you wanted to do a tune here that I guess we could do it. If you want
we can do Mountain Echo. That's fine. The next one. Or are you going to go to that? Do this.
This one you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do this.
Let's do Mountain Echo, and that on there features 2 singers, and everybody knows them. And one, it's B. Postotnik and Rosemary Marn. They do a nice job, and they were a duet for many years.
Serving Maple Country. This is your Geauga station, 1560 WATJ in Chardon.
Good afternoon, Chardon in Northeast Ohio. Thanks very much for listening to 1560 WATJ. Today's weather, partly sunny, temperature in the mid-70s. Tonight, cloudy and a possibility of showers later on in the evening, and the temperature in the low 50s. And tomorrow we have a 40% chance of showers, a high of 78. And at 1:33 we have 75 degrees under partly cloudy skies at your home of America's popular favorites, 1560 WATJ, where we play memories. And now back with my guest, Al Tercek, on the Polka Showcase.
Yeah, we're here. Al,
yes,
what
we
are
are
we going to do next? I think we ought to try to do, there's another Ausenic song that I like. It's kind of peppy and it's cute. Silke Valencic wrote the English lyrics, and it's called Oh How Sweet It Is.
That's on this one here?
Yep.
Well, then I'll tell you what, let's play it.
Last night I went to the center of town with my friend Joey Brown.
Oh, how sweet it is to
Hoist one or two or even maybe a few, drinking with your best friend. As quick as a wink, we were sure in the pink, having just one more drink.
Oh, how sweet it is to
Lead a sweet life and forget your dear wife, drinking with your best friend. Take my advice, even though it was nice, it isn't worth the price.
Oh, how sweet it is to
Go on a bend and to drink with your friend, but you have to come home in the end. La 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 la.
glory, hallelujah.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Glory, hallelujah.
La 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 la.
Hey, oh, how sweet it is.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
This is Al Tercek, and I'm sitting here with our friend Al Markic and having a lot of fun.
And you had a guest come in.
And we're talking with Nick Vukcevic, and
That's it.
we're having some fun reliving the old days, the good old days. And it's fun, Al.
And they were good old days.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
What do I talk about now?
Well, I'll tell you. You ever have your own band?
Yeah, we ended up before, we were talking about playing with Frankie Yankovic at 14,
Yeah,
and then
right.
then he went into the service, and then I played with Johnny Vadnal at the Yankovic bar, and his brothers pretty much had all gone into service. Tony and Frankie had gone, so John wasn't there, but we still had Al.
Yeah, you had Al Markic there too.
No, we didn't have
Yes.
Al Markic, but we had Al Neglich on piano, and me on drums. And I wasn't much older than 15, I guess, then maybe, and played there 3 nights a week. And then Johnny reformed his band, and it was tough. But this was during the war, so it was, musicians were constantly going into the service, and we kept reforming that band. And then Johnny was working at GE, and I was working at GE, and we were working 7 days a week. And one of the reasons we were both there was that they had a band that played during lunch hour for the employees. And
Right.
we'd play from like 11 in the morning until 2 in the afternoon while all the people came in, had their lunch and danced, and we entertained them and made them happy so they go back and make all these parts for the war. And then on weekends I played with Vadnal. That band on Wednesday started out small but ended up with a 16-piece band. And then I went with that band after the war, before the war was even finished, just as it was finishing up, out to Men on the Lake, and I tried big bands for a while, and that was a big 16-piece band, and I loved that. And then I went on the road with a couple other bands for a while, and thought that I was going to be another another Gene Krupa or Buddy Rich and be playing with Benny Goodman. And then from there I went to a place called the Rose Room with that same band, Russ Harmon. We were playing the Rose Room in Menor, and I started college, and my first grades were not very good. I got 3 D's and 2 C's, and my mother said, either you play drums, but you can't play, or go to school, but you can't do both. And I used to do my homework in a booth, like a pink light or something in a booth, and any booth that was empty during intermissions. And that's a tough way to study, so I didn't get good grades. So she said, you got to do one or the other. So I quit playing for about 6 months till I got my grades to A's and B's, and then she was okay. And I still wasn't playing, but then I got a call from Kenny Bass, and he said, we got a record contract on Decca. And he says, we're putting a band together. It's SoCat Chavit, me, you, and we'll get a sax player. And I says, sounds like fun. I said, but I can't play more than 2 nights a week because my mom will have a fit and I'll lose these grades. And so I started out. He said, don't worry, we don't have any jobs. We're just getting. And then, but the record was a good one because the first record they did was Blue Skirt Waltz. And so from that, we then started going out of town on weekends. But I still managed to keep my grades up and keep my mother happy. And then from that band, we started, Eddie Habit and I left, and Eddie started his own band.
Well, you know, when you were mentioned, you played at GE at Nela Park.
Oh, you did?
You did.
Oh, yeah, I did that too.
For lunches.
Yeah. No, not at Nela Park, on 185th Street off St. Clair. It was called the B-57 Division.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Because we used to have music up there at the Cuyahoga Lamp Building.
Oh, I'm sure you did, yeah.
Matter of fact, my group even played up there a few times.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and I thought maybe you were up there.
No, these were cool jobs. Yeah, I used to skip school on Wednesdays to go play. You only had it on Wednesdays. My mother let me skip school. And then the day I graduated, they said, you got to come to work. So I said, let me stay, at least have a couple days off. And I went to work the following Monday. And then right after I got there, they started having music every day.
Yeah.
So that was a fun job.
So you finished school?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, my student counselor told me, he says when he found out I was playing, and what the heck, we were, about 16, 15, maybe 14 years old, yeah, even younger than that. It was in Collinwood. And hey, Al, he says, you know, I hear you play music in the evenings at night. Excuse me. I says, yeah. He says, well, you can't be doing that and going to school too. I says, well, my grades are up. There's no problem. You can't do both.
Oh, my.
So I went home that night, and at the dinner table, I was kind of trembling, and I told Pop, I says, I want to quit school. He says, well, if you want to quit school, go ahead. You're going to have to go to work, and you're going to probably have to work a long time. Went back to school the next day. I'm taking my stuff out. The student counselor comes by. What are you doing? I says, well, I had a choice, either quit playing or quit school. So I said, I'm quitting school because I like to play. You can't do that. I said, watch me, and I walked out the door, and that was the end of that.
Oh, my.
So, no story. We've got a record we want to play here.
Yeah, we got a record. It's we talked before about the Gaiety Bar, and one of the records that we did together with Ray Champa, we split the session, and it came out on the Picnic label many, many years ago, and it was a controversial cover on the jacket that created a lot of it, because there was a lady dancing and her skirt is spinning and she didn't have her underwear on, I guess, and something. But it created quite a stir because nobody had ever done anything like that before, and the Gaiety Polka was one of the very popular songs in that record.
You got it.
That was a mover. That's like the old days. You know?
You're right.
That was fun. And in those days, Al, we were just talking about that, and people used to go, there were 3 bars in the neighborhood. It was Gaiety Bar, and they had music a couple nights a week, and then there was Champa's and Fritz's.
Fritz's.
And all 3, and people would go to all 3 bars, and the guys who were looking for for ladies would try Gaiety, and if that wasn't work, you have a couple drinks and go on to Champa's, and then from Champa's you go to Fritz's, and all three of them had a lot of business because there was a lot of people that were coming to that area,
right,
and looking for good bands and dancing and all of that kind of stuff. And my mother wouldn't make me the house band. She says you just get, it isn't good business to have the same band every week. So I'd be there 1 week a month, and then I had to look for work in the other. So I said, I'm going to go play at Fritz's, and she said, that's fine. You could do whatever you want. So sometimes we were at Fritz's a lot, and other places, and Champa's occasionally.
Yeah.
And it worked. And as a tribute to a nice guy, he's a tough boss. When we played for him, Fritz.
Oh yeah.
But he was really tough. But the business was really good, you know. And they had a policeman at the door would let so many people in because it got so crowded.
Right.
And so when we did this recording many years ago, we decided we would call one Fritz's in tribute to him. And these are all written by Frankie Maurer, our accordion player, outstanding player.
Yeah, Frankie was a great accordionist.
Yeah.
Is he still playing?
No, he's retired. And I passed his home on the way, and he lives in a very nice area in that Barrington development in Aurora.
Oh, in Aurora.
And we were at his house a week ago Monday, and he still plays in his basement. He has a sound studio down there with all kind of his equipment, and he can sound like a full band. And he plays and he writes music. He's written some great polkas. It would be nice. It would be great if we could put him on record somehow. But Frank's so busy during the day. He's president of an insurance agency, and so he's quite busy. He goes down there to relax and write music, and he does a good job of writing.
The next time you see him, why give him my regards, will you?
I will. I'll tell him.
I haven't seen him for ages.
Oh yeah. Oh, he asks about everybody every now and then.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, we got another tune. You want to do it on there?
Yeah, let's do that one. And that one should be Fritz's. Up when we did the second recording, we had Willie Straw on bass, and now before we retired a few years ago, we had Al Bell on bass. So pretty much unusual in the polka business to have the same guys for 20-30 years. Right. But I was really very lucky, and with no turnover except maybe 2 or 3 bass players.
Yeah.
And one of the songs that Frank wrote then that was really popular and we put on that record, on the Picnic record with Ray Champa, was called The Polka Swing, and it swings. So why don't we listen to that?
Okay, before we do, I want to ask, is Bill WATJ still around?
No, Bill died.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, a long time ago. He bought he got married, and then he bought a motel in Colorado at a ski resort.
Oh, yeah?
And did really well in the winter, and he died running that motel. Young man when he died.
Yeah, sorry.
Nice guy, big polka promoter.
Yeah, I know. I think he lived near Johnny Vadno there on Green Road or Green Street, someplace.
Yeah,
he was
you're
his
right.
neighbor.
Yeah, you're right.
I can remember a few things.
Oh my.
Okay, we go.
playing America's popular favorites from the heart of Maple Country. This is 1560 WATJ in Chardon.
And we're back here again with the Polka Showcase. Your host, Al, and our guest...
Al Tercek.
Al Tercek, the one and only drummer boy.
Al, we talked about Frank Maurer before and the songs that he's written, and I think we ought to start this segment with another one from the Picnic album. This one is a real rouser. It's a tribute to Matt Hoyer, who certainly should deserve a lot of tributes, but this one is called Tribute to Matt.
All right, we'll listen to it. Now you can talk, Al.
No, I just said that was a tag ending on it.
Yeah.
I that's my favorite Al Tercek stuff. I like the other album that we did, Polka Power. That's good. We'll go back to that.
That's a good album, yeah.
But this other one, this Picnic thing, was done so many years ago, and it's not played very much. And so every now and then I like to...
Well, I'm glad you brought it.
I like to hear it.
Because I don't think I've heard it.
Yeah. They're hard to find. There aren't any, if you find some, it's just by accident.
Well, if I ever find one, I'll get one.
Yeah. That's the way you're going to do it. Al, we were talking a little bit about Hudson and the Green and the All-Star Band that played. That same All-Star Band is going to be playing on 185th Street this week on Wednesday for an hour and at 7:30. So I thought it would be nice if we mentioned it because that's opening night and someone is going to be... a button box group is opening, and I'm sorry that I don't have that with me, but I forgot who it is. And then we play from 7:30 to 8:30, and then Joey Tomsic plays following us.
Well, maybe somebody that's listening will know, and they might call us, and then we can mention it.
They'll say who opens it at 6 o'clock. Yeah, right. It should be a big crowd, and since it's opening night, they'll have some special attractions, some special people coming, and a cake, I understand, and all of that stuff. But in the Hall of Fame band, there's always some, you never know who's going to be in it. Fred Kuhar picks, he's our leader. I'm president of the Hall of Fame, and he picks guys, and he called me, and I know I'm going to be playing drums, and I would assume that Jimmy Kozel will be on piano, and I would think that Fred Kuhar and his brother will also be in the band, and then we'll have another sax player and some other accordion players, so it should be fun. Eddie Habit plays usually all the time.
Right. Weren't you, 2 years ago, weren't you in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
I was on that one, too.
And that's why I told you when we talked on the phone the other day, I wish you were here. We didn't have banjo on us.
Well, if I could play away.
Come Wednesday and bring your banjo.
I tell you, it wouldn't do any good. I could sit there and look at it, and that's about the extent of it. Yeah, I can't.
That's too bad because we miss your playing. I, as a drummer, I like a strong rhythm section, and I think that banjo just adds a lot in the rhythm section.
It gives it a little lift.
Piano and good bass player. You can do a lot.
Yeah. No, if I could play, I'd be there playing. I'd have been out there in your town there playing.
Yep. I want us to swing. I want us to really be good. And we were a big hit at Hudson, and hopefully we'll be a big hit Wednesday. I'd like to see all the people. So those of you that are listening, come down Wednesday night. Hey, what are we going to do next? I guess we go back.
Whatever you would like to do.
We're going to go back to the Polka Power album.
Right, okay.
And that the next one that's up is Trumpet Echo.
Why don't you send us out to Nick that was here?
Hey, Nick, you're listening in the car somewhere? This one is for you. Thanks for bringing in that souvenir for me. It's an Ausenic song, very popular Ausenic song called Trumpet Echo.
That guy's still screaming. Who was that?
I'm not sure. I did some. I did some of those.
Oh, did you? You did, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I forgot who else did. There was two of them. I don't remember now who did the other one.
Well, that was a good voice.
It's fun. It adds a lift.
Yeah, sure does.
I liked it a lot.
You're right.
Were you going to do some announcements now?
No.
Oh, no, okay.
I'm talking to you.
We're talking, okay.
Yeah, we're talking. No, we got about 4 minutes yet.
All right, we're watching the clock and we're doing that. This is fun, reminiscing through all of this. This whole thing, one of the first things that we did, Al, when I started my band many, many years ago while I was still in college, was a song called Annabelle.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And we did it with that chorus, and we had two ladies and 10 men in that chorus, and it was a little bit like of a Good Night Irene kind of sound that we were looking for, and it became a big hit. And that's only out on 45, and it was never duplicated. But when we did this album, Polka Power, we thought we'd do it again, and the guys in the band sang, and that's up next on the on your first.
Okay.
It's the Annabelle Waltz.
Should we do it?
And we're going to do it, and we're going to do it for Nick and his wife, who are he's on his way back, in the car.
Won't you come back to me? I'm so lonesome, you see. Lonesome for you, Annabelle. Someone made you feel blue, said I didn't love you. You know that I do, Annabelle. The birds in the treetops, the moon up above, know that it's you, Annabelle, that I love. Won't you come back to me? I'm so lonesome, you see. Lonesome for you, Annabelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
I'm here.
I'm glad. Don't get lost.
No.
You'll be like Harry Faint, my Sunday partner. I don't know where he's at.
Al, Harry Faint's a good friend of mine. In the years we talked about a lot of guys that I played with. I played with some really, really nice people. I had the luxury and the benefit of meeting some nice guys, and one of the guys that I spent some time playing with died a couple of days ago, Eddie Kovac, and I don't know if you knew Eddie Kovac, but
that sounds familiar, but I can't say.
He was a band leader. He played accordion.
Played accordion?
Yeah, and a really nice man. And later on, after he retired from playing and got married, he and his wife used to attend a lot of the polka functions. And I just was sitting here thinking about it, what a nice guy he was, and then there were people like Vic in the Harp, but the people might not remember, and Joe Trolley and Louis and Dolcic. There were some guys in the old days that were really nice men, and I was just a young fellow then playing with them, but good guys. And then later on I mentioned before that the guys that I played with, and I didn't mention the happy times that I had with Johnny Pecan, and he even helped make me a better drummer because I was doing something wrong. Didn't realize that I was doing it wrong, and Johnny corrected me and really helped me. He was very patient. I was maybe 15 years old.
He was a great taskmaster.
He really was, and he wanted it a certain way, and it was the right way.
Yeah, that's right.
Without any question.
And that's the way it had to be, too.
And it had to be that way. You played with him, so you know. And then I guess some of the happiest, then with Vadnal Johnny, I had some great times, and some really, really happy times with Eddie Habit. I don't have any of the Eddie Habit records with me today, and we sure would play something like Go Man Go.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we go through this on this next tune, you turn around and you look in that rack and you'll find a lot of Eddie Habit tunes in there. If you want to pick one out, we'll play it.
All right, well, maybe we'll find Go Man Go, because that was
it's in there.
That was great. We had a lot of fun. So I spent a lot of happy times with him. And Kenny Bass is another guy, and Pete Sokach. So I just had to remember all these guys. But going back to the album now, we want on Polka Power album, one of the things that was probably the most popular song on the album was a cover. We did a Alcinic came out with the Wind Song, and we wanted to do that, and with some English lyrics. And again, Silka Valencic gave us wrote the English lyrics, and what you're going to hear now is Frank Mauer's wife and her sister Ronnie, and they're going to be singing on this album, and it's called The Wind Song. When we recorded this Polka Power album, Lenny Zdanowicz, and a lot of people that are listening will remember Lenny. He was a big polka fan, and he was a fireman. And he used to tell us about. He'd call a couple times. I did this kind of a show for Tony Petkosik, and when I did that, he would call and tell me he's calling from the fire station, and the firemen all wanted this. And so when we were making this album, this is an Alcinic song, and we called it the Firehouse Polka, and we'd like to send this out. If I can, I'd like to send this out to Lenny and his wife.
Yeah, you can send it out to anybody you like.
Well, Lenny, if you're listening, this is for you.
Okay, that was the Firehouse or Fireman's.
That's the Firehouse Polka.
Okay. We have to rush here, you know.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, Al, we were talking about guys that I played with, and I had happy times. One of the special guys in my life was Eddie Habit, and we picked out 3 cards here that are 3 of my very favorites. And this one I had a little bit to do. We needed another side, and we were doing this for Decca, and Lenny Joy was there, and he said, Eddie played this thing, and he says, well, let's do something with it. And he says, why don't we make it a football song? And at that time, rock and roll was just starting, and Bill Haley had a thing called something about Go Man Go. And so what we did was we just put some of those same kind of phrases into a polka, and then this became a big Eddie Habit hit. So let's listen to Eddie Habit.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Go Man Go.
I'll tell you what, I got to tell you a little story. When I was playing with Eddie Habit, we were playing some of those trust fund jobs.
Yeah.
And we were down at the Glenville School.
Oh, yeah.
And we walked in, it was all colored kids, you know.
Yeah.
And, hey, man, go, man, go, man. You know, they're hollering like hell. I says, boy, it's surprising. It's a wonder they know them.
Play that one.
Here it comes. And that was for you, Eddie.
Oh, you cut out the best part.
Did I cut off the best part?
Yeah, that's when I said, oh, man, that was a crazy polka.
You just said it, see?
But that was a big seller for
it was well known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a good football kind of song. We had a lot of fun with it. And there were some neat guys on that band, and they're just happy memories. And there's another one that we did right after that, or maybe about at the same time. It was really popular, and this was an old Hoyer tune. Eddie liked to play Hoyer. Eddie Habit loved playing, and Eddie played with a lot of spirit.
Yes, he did.
And good. The tempo was a little bit fast, but we always played with a lot of drive and a good backbeat, and easy to dance to his things. And one of his biggest hits, and still played a lot by all the bands, is Jack on St. Clair.
Well, I'll tell you, most of the recordings, you usually step it up a little bit, so it's a little bit faster and peppier, because when you're sitting listening, if it drags, well, you're going to fall asleep.
That's true. That's a good idea, too.
Okay, you're going to want Jack on St. Clair.
That's up next.
And where do you want it?
I want it. I want it right now.
Okay, you got anybody you want to send it out to?
No special dedications.
Well, let's send this out to Eddie Habit.
Hey, great.
I'm sure he's listening.
All right, that's a good idea.
Okay, that was Eddie Habit with Jack on the St. Clair.
Yanis on the St. Clair. Eddie, we love you. Thanks a lot. That was great. Thanks for all the good memories. Talking about old friends, there's a guy that sang with our band and played bass for a great number of years, Willie Straw. Most people that are listening in remember Willie. He played with other bands other than mine, but there were a lot of good memories with Willie in the band. And when we did this recording on Polka Power, we did a thing called Repeta. It's repeat polka, and we did it as a tribute to Jerry Bukac, who was a very popular Bohemian band and had died suddenly. And so this was our salute to Jerry Bukac, but it's sung very well by Willie Straw.
tell them what it is, and we'll go right into it.
Yeah. Well, what this is the Oh Ya Polka, and they're sending this out to all the fine members of the Oh Ya Club. We wish them all well. Some have not been feeling good. We hope they all recover and have happy times like they used to in the old days. They came down to the studio and helped us record this. Wait.
Sounds like they were going far away.
That was a great kazoo playing by the Oh Ya Club and great singing. Nice people. Had a lot of fun. You know, we were sitting here talking. We were talking about our good friend Tony Vadnal, and I stopped to see him a couple of weeks ago, and he's making remarkable improvement. He's like a miracle. You look at him from where he was and where he is today.
Well, you said it.
It's outstanding.
I was there a couple of days ago.
Yeah, it's amazing what he's done, and we want to wish him well. Tony, if you're listening, we want to wish you well. This we're going to send out an Eddie Habit tune that's one of my favorites, only because I had something to do with it. And I'll tell you about that when we're finished. But let's listen to If You Knew Susie, and let's send it out to our good friend Tony Vadnal.
If you knew Susie like I know Susie, oh, what a girl. There's none so classy as this fair lassie. Holy Moses, what a chassis. We went riding, she didn't bump. Back from Yonkers, I'm the one that had to walk. If you knew Susie like I know Susie, oh, what a girl. Hey, don't you fellas know melancholy, baby? If you knew Susie like I know Susie, oh, what a girl. There's none so classy as this fair lassie. Holy Moses, what a chassis. We went riding, she didn't fall.